In this video, I'll share a few tricks for deleting data from your Akuro Cloud database. Generally speaking, there are two different ways of deleting data stored in the Akuro Cloud database. Either you can delete it item by item and specify the ID of the item you'd like to remove, or you can use a cloud database query to define the items that are going to be deleted. In this video, we'll have a look at both methods. I've prepared an app that lists stored items in a cloud database. Each item has two properties, a name and a category. The first method we're going to use is to delete an item by its ID. The easiest way we can do this is to just edit the click event on the list and simply remove the item we've clicked on. To begin, I'll open the visual coding script for the click event on the list. To delete an item from the cloud database, we can use the cloud database delete block. Here, I'll only need to specify the collection and then the ID of the item we'd like to delete. The ID of the clicked item is, as always, available as the event source ID. Next, we'll need to refresh the list to view the updated results from our database. The easiest way to do this is to simply reload the entire page using the page load block. Close the visual coding window now and save the page, then test the functionality by clicking on some of the items in the list. As you can see, they are now deleted one by one and removed from the list. This might not be the best way to implement a delete feature, however, as we have no confirmation, but the concept will be the same. When you need to delete one single item, the cloud database delete block is the way to go. Now, let's say we would instead like to remove some more items at once. For example, we'd like to remove all items that don't have a category set to C. The easiest way we can do this is by creating a database query and then using the result from this query to remove the item. Let's head over to the Cloud Database area and go to the Queries tab. Now, I'll add a query. I'll call this Remove Items and select the Data Items collection as our database collection. Now, I'll select the query and select Edit. Working with queries is described in another video, and if you're new to working with data queries, I'd like to suggest that you start with viewing that one first, before starting here. However, the main concept of data queries is that we define one or more filters that specifies which item should be returned by a query. To return all items that don't have their category set to C, I'll select category as the field, and not equal as the operator, and then type C as the value. We can now test this query by clicking Test, and as you can see, all items that have other categories that aren't C are returned. Now I'll save this query and return to the home page. Here, we can add a button that will perform the deletion of items. I'll first add the button and then click to edit its click event. To delete the items returned by a query, I'll use the Cloud Database Delete by Query coding block. Here, I'll simply specify the query. As a last step of this query, we should also make the page reload just as we did earlier to refresh the list. With this finished, we're now ready to test it out. So I'll close all visual coding windows, save the page, and try to click on the button. As you can see, when the list refreshes, the only items remaining are those which have their category set to C. As you might know, data queries also support parameters that can be used to programmatically send parameters to our filters. By using data queries and parameters, you can build advanced deletion procedures fairly easily. As a final note in this video, I should mention that when running a database query, only data that the user has access to will be returned based on the permissions set on the database collection. If you would like to override this permission and make it possible to delete data a user does not have permission to remove, run the query from a cloud action. Database operations run from a cloud action will override the normal permissions set to a data collection.